we're talking about 10 painted kitchen cabinet ideas. One of the best investments you can make in terms of home renovations. These are 10 different approaches you can take when you're redesigning or restyling your kitchen. And we have an awesome article from thespruce.com, which I'm reacting to today. Thank you, viewer, who sent this to me. This is a really interesting one because we're not just talking about different color schemes or different kitchen island colors you can go with. These are 10 unique outlooks or approaches to tackling a kitchen cabinet refinishing of any kind. And some are great ideas, some are not so great. So let's go through 10 right now. Thank you, Lee, for writing this article. It's really great, actually. There's a lot of information here to get into, which is why I want to get into it with you. So the first one is kind of an interesting one. It's black kitchen cabinets, which is kind of the polar opposite of what you see nowadays with white kitchen cabinets, which are often paired with beautiful white quartz countertops like this. White on white on white, super minimal. But black, quite maximal, I feel. Well, black is very dramatic, and yes, it's timeless in terms of fashion. Like if you go to Paris, for example, everyone wears black, which is why I wear black too, because I'm super posh myself. Here's the thing about black paint, though. It's very dramatic, right? It is extremely noticeable. It's dark as well, so it will give you a very specific aesthetic. Maybe in a kitchen, you want light to be reflected off of surfaces more, so you can see better, so you can feel a little more airy and open. But maybe you don't. Maybe you have lighter walls, lighter countertop, lighter backsplash, a lot of light coming in, so you don't mind a bit of a black door just to really capture your attention. Now, dark colors in general have a tendency to show imperfections a little bit more. Because they're so rich, there's so much colorant in it, there will be a natural sheen that will be present, even in those lower sheen products. But the cool thing that the author recommends is actually silky milk paint, which is a decorative finish that's usually reserved for furniture, and it actually comes in a baggie, usually like a little packet of powder, and then you gotta mix it, and then you got like a time limit, so there is a bit of pressure there. But what you're left with is a kind of matte finish that's a little bit chalky, and normally flatter finishes will hide those imperfections a lot better than a satin, semi-gloss, or especially a full gloss. You never go full gloss. Unless you do, then it's fine. I'm going to be honest, I don't have any milk paint used in my home, and it's not necessarily the industry standard when it comes to cabinet coats, right? More people tend to go for your lacquer-based products, polyurethane finishes, even your waterborne kind of alkyd hybrid paints that exist. But as far as I know, milk paint can be fairly durable as well. So if you really love the aesthetic, and that is your primary concern, then this could be something that could work. But I also think you could just go with a matte finish in a designated cabinet paint, because those exist too. There's just a lot of options now, which is a good thing. All right, number 2, precision counts. And I read ahead here. Okay, this is a bad one. Is it possible to paint your kitchen cabinets without the added hassle of priming and sanding? Well, you forgot one, Lee. It's cleaning as well. This essentially is an example of someone who has skipped the prep process, or at least a big portion of it, and just carefully and meticulously painted the cabinets. And they turned out great. And could that happen? Of course it can. But for the most part, best practice is always do the proper prep. Yes, it is tedious to have to make sure everything's clean, get all that grease off. Make sure you sand the surface a bit so that you're ensuring that whatever new coating is going on is going to adhere properly. And then, of course, priming to finish things up. We're doing all this prep work to ensure that your cabinet finish, whatever product you decide to use, is going to last as long as possible. Because no matter how expensive your cabinet paint is, if it's going onto a surface that is maybe flaking off or is greasy and there's a bit of an adhesion issue, it's going to fail and you're going to have to redo it again. Do it nice or do it twice, right? So yes, there's going to be anecdotal evidence of people that didn't prime and didn't sand, and lo and behold, it worked. I consider those people lucky. It's not about being extra careful, because no matter how careful or how much attention you put into a cabinet recoating, if those doors don't want to take the paint, they won't take it. Chalkboard surprise. Now, this is a fun one for me because kind of like milk paint, chalkboard paint is also a mineral-based product, but it's usually pre-mixed. Like you don't have to mix it in your cauldron beforehand. Both examples are interesting because they both were black. So the milk paint, you might think would be white, but in this case, it's just the material that was used. But chalkboard paint, of course it needs to be black, right? So your chalk will be as legible as possible. And I think there's just a really fun practical element with chalkboard paint, especially in the kitchen, because you can write little messages here and there. The important distinction that I have to make, though, is they're using chalkboard on the inside of the cabinet doors, not necessarily the outside, because chalkboard paint isn't known for mar and abrasion resistance and durability. It has that practical element, though. You can write little jot notes. You can say, hey, these are the snacks that you don't touch after dinner, kid, right here. And of course, outside of cabinet use, you can put chalkboard paint on sections of the wall as well and just use it as a chalkboard. But on the outside, make sure you stick with an actual kitchen cabinet paint, something that'll actually stand up to abuse. Quality over quantity. So this is about just investing in good materials, because if you're taking the time to do all this, you might as well do it right. Although the author did talk about, chrome poles and, handles and stuff like that. I don't know if quality over quantity really applies there. Usually it's just quality versus low quality. Then I suppose if you have to keep rebuying it over and over and over because it sucks, then it is quantity at that point. They do talk about the quality of your paint as well, and they say, go with something great like the Pro Classic brand of Sherwin-Williams. Hey, you know what? Nothing wrong with Pro Classic for trims and doors, but maybe not for kitchen cabinets. Maybe go to like Emerald Urethane if you're in the Sherwin-Williams ecosystem. Calm and Cozy. Now this is an interesting title because this little bit here is about being calm and collected while you're painting the cabinets yourself without spray equipment. For those of you that don't know, there are multiple ways to paint your kitchen cabinets, right? You can go with a sprayer, which is how most professionals traditionally do it. You can also brush and roll it. You can even sponge it if you really wanted to, but I don't recommend that. So in this part, they're saying you don't need to buy all that crazy spray equipment. Just get your roller and take the time. And while I do agree that you can do that, just know that a roller and brush will never really produce the same results as professionally sprayed finishes. It won't be quite as much of a factory finish as spraying would give you, although you can get pretty decent results. I would just say maybe temper your expectations if you are planning to brush and roll this yourself. The thing is, though, get someone who already has all that expensive spray equipment and just pay for their services so they can do it all and you don't even need to worry about it. That's how I would approach it. Two-tone cabinets, this is a classic, right? We're getting into the more aesthetic side of things. But what's interesting here is there was this existing dark brown color that they wanted to paint and get rid of because it was depressing. So then they painted the top a white and then the bottom another dark color. So I guess not all dark colors are as equally depressing, but it did make me think of a fun little situation where sometimes you actually have great cabinets that are in good shape. You just want something a little bit different. And in some cases, you can paint just one level of the cabinets or just a section of it and then leave the existing finish if it's in good shape. Because there are some kitchen cabinets that really suit the aesthetic of the house. And when you repaint it, it can transform it, but sometimes not necessarily for the best. So I have seen some fun examples online of people that have selectively left out some cabinets in the painting process, whether it's maybe a very intricate portion of the kitchen or even the kitchen island, if it's just this beautiful natural wood and they just wanted to leave it there. Because once you paint that wood, it's really not going to look the same ever again. So just be sure that you really do want that change from dark to light. Now, this is one of the most common situations when it comes to kitchen refinishing. You're going from a really dark kitchen that maybe looked really awesome and elegant and prestigious 15 years ago. But now you want something light and airy because that's what we see online. I love this quartz, by the way. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go all white either, because that can kind of get boring in and of itself. So in this example, the kitchen island was painted with a light blue color from Behr Paint. Really beautiful. You can even see there's a little box of some sort, a little bit of storage. So I could definitely tell that the owner really gravitates towards those robin's egg blues, those Tiffany turquoisey kind of colors. And I think a color like that is light enough where it has an impact and it's noticeable, but it's not going to really overpower or, take too much attention either. I can't imagine how different that kitchen looked before it was painted. Personality change. So this next one is really about those OG original cabinets that were wood and the owner just wanted to really change things up. And painting does a huge number on cabinets. You're not only going with a different coloration, you're going with a different texture as well, where you're no longer seeing all the wood grain. It's more of an opaque finish that's a little more, I guess, neutral to the eye. And this gray they used, it's fine, right? I maybe would have opted for something a little bit warmer just to sort of go with that backsplash. But here's the thing. They were able to have a busier backsplash because your cabinets, instead of having all the different nuances that natural wood has, it's just one flat color, which I think does enhance the overall look and it keeps things a bit updated and modern and fresh. Just keep in mind though, once those oak cabinets are painted or whatever wood they are, they're painted now. So you're not really going to be able to revert back once you've taken that step. So just be really sure that's what you want to do. And then we finish up with professional touch at number 10, and thank you. We ended on a good note. This is just letting you know that if it's within your means, it's always nice to get a professional to spray those kitchen cabinets for you, because it's going to look like it came from the factory. So oftentimes these pros, they're spraying your cabinets with the same stuff that IKEA uses, or Crate and Barrel, or Restoration Hardware. These are industrial coatings that manufacturers use if you're going with, let's say, a lacquer, which really is my top recommendation when it comes to cabinet coatings. That's just from my experience. So yes, spraying is your optimal path, but rolling and brushing can be done as well. Just keep in mind that your results may vary in those cases. I love talking about anything related to kitchens, which is what I do in this video right over here. So, okay, that's about it. See ya.